Has Instagram changed food photography, or is this much ado about nothing? I've got some thoughts on what's going on with this niche within a niche on Instagram and food photography in general. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Chris, and here we talk about food photography. If you're just getting started with food photography, this channel is a great place to be, as we talk about lighting, composition, technique, and a little editing as well. So what you want to do is hit that subscribe button, make sure to turn on all notifications, and follow along for more videos. Has Instagram changed food photography, or has it only created anew what Eater calls laissez-faire Instagram food? If you're not familiar with Eater, it's an online food magazine for, as they explain it, people who care about dining and drinking in the nation's most important food cities. While surfing through their site last year, I came across an article about this messy food aesthetic that's taking over Instagram. And they'd highlighted several creators who were leading in this kind of newer niche. The crux of the article was basically this: what food photography has been over the last decade or so, which is professionally created, highly manicured photos, was losing ground to a new style of imagery that was more spur of the moment and more relatable to the average viewer. All due in part to an overload of influencer content. That article has stuck with me, and every time I'm on Instagram now, I think about it while I'm scrolling through the thousands of food accounts I follow. So I thought today, let's answer that question. Has Instagram changed food photography? First and foremost, the messy food aesthetic, as I call it, can make food look more relatable. Perfectly arranged, stylized food photos can often look intimidating and unapproachable, but a messy plate of food can seem more familiar. We've most likely experienced much more of the latter in our daily lives. When we see a perfectly arranged dish, it can feel like it's out of reach, or we can never recreate that at home. But a messy plate of food, with spills and drips and imperfections, feels more real. It's the kind of food we could picture ourselves eating, and that in itself can make it more appealing to the viewer. Now, I know what you're thinking. I see lots of professionally created images that have drips and spills and crumbs and flour patches and to make it all look messy. But as the article explains, this imperfection goes beyond food to wonky lighting, props, a lack of composition, and unflattering angles. So it's not just the food, it's the scene or the image as a whole. Imperfect food can also add a sense of honesty to food photography. Rather than trying to present an idealized version of a dish, messy food photos embrace that mess that sometimes is real life. They show food as it is, rather than trying to hide its flaws. This authenticity can be refreshing and can sometimes create a more genuine connection with the viewer. This micro niche is popular on Instagram because it makes food look more real. And while it may restrict creativity with its what you see is what you get style, it's a lower stress environment because it's quicker and easier to capture, rather than having to make sure that everything is perfect in our image. Smartphones have made it easier for people to spontaneously take and share photos of their food. Couple that with a slew of phone apps to help you take and edit good photos, all of a sudden everyone can capture a DSLR-style photo with a sharp-focused hero and delicious fall-off into computer-generated bokeh. And you know what? The average viewer probably couldn't tell the difference. With all that said, though, there still has to be a place on Instagram for highly stylized food photography. Try walking into a restaurant setting to work with a chef on shooting the new menu. Tell the chef you need to make the plates look messy for Instagram. See how that goes over. Or tell an ad agency that the product they want to feature looks too good, so we're going to mess it up a little bit. While you may get a couple of takers, by and large, they haven't sunk all this time, research, and money into new menus and products to not have them look their very best. These types of photos, where we labor over every item that will appear in the image, can be just as visually appealing with its use of colors and props and composition, and they can showcase the artistic and creative side of food photography. These photos may be carefully planned and arranged to create a certain look, which can make them very effective at conveying a feeling or a message. Additionally, many people still enjoy looking at and engaging with highly stylized and staged food, me included. It can inspire people to try new recipes and new culinary techniques. While that is more what I prefer, I can still appreciate the simplicity and the ease of messy food. But the same messy food photos are replacing more professionally produced images. That's like saying that the photos of the ocean are replacing photos of sunsets. Each genre has its own audience, and I bet there's a lot of crossover. It's also important to remember Instagram has made a big push into video content, which seems to be suppressing photos as a whole anyway. Although the CEO says that's not the case, I would disagree. Of the 2 billion monthly users, 27% actively share food-related content on Instagram. There are roughly 250 million posts using the hashtag food each month. So do I think there's still a place on Instagram for both messy and stylized food photos? Of course I do. And I don't think for one moment this messy food niche is outperforming more professionally curated images. What I do think is most important is that the photos are visually appealing, they tell a story, and they engage the viewer in some way. That's what we all strive for in all of our photos, not just the messy ones. Do you follow any creators on Instagram that feature that messy style of food photography? If so, and you know what I'm talking about, leave a name in the comments. I'd love to see more of their work. And if you're interested, I'll left a link to the original article down below. I hope you got something from this. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a brilliant day. See you in the next video, and bye for now.